When the George Floyd incident happened, we had to take a deep look. It was an inflection point for us, as it is for many companies out there, right? You had mentioned that companies are doing and saying all the right things right now. I think the biggest thing for us was to be transparent, to kind of live it and understand what uncomfortable conversations were like. I mean, before the George Floyd came to light, before the whole pandemic thing came to light, we were already introducing things like uncomfortable conversations and being open and talk about things that have been taboo, like politics and sexual orientation and whatnot. But the level of looking at our component of diversity and looking within our diversity lineup and where the opportunities are have been eye-opening for all of us. And it's been eye-opening from the top all the way through the entire organization. So, to list out everything that we're doing, there's a lot going on. But I think the most important thing is that we're open and transparent and we're being bold about it. And not to insinuate anybody's being obsessive over watching Delta in the media, but Ed has put himself out there, right? On the pandemic front, on the racial injustice front, and the most recent thing that you can probably say, wow, in terms of his participation in this world is the voting rights in Georgia and the position we took from that standpoint. So I think it's important for us, and not that we're experts in politics by any stretch, but it's been really important for us to represent our customers, represent our employees, represent the community in all the right ways. And so the work just started. There's a long way to go by any stretch, but I couldn't be more proud of Delta and all the work we're doing, especially coming from a diverse background myself.
The first thing for us is that diversity, equity, and inclusion is part of our business strategy. We really feel like in order to be a great organization, we have to be a great place to work. And part of that means you can bring your whole self to work, And so we really started in doing more listening. We have a concept called courageous conversations. And, we were able to have more and still do have more than we ever did before. And because when you get a chance to hear somebody's lived experience, and it's real for you too, then nobody's a label. Their experience is part of you as well. And that's been a key part of our strategy, is to drive that out and make sure that we're listening first and that people are heard. That's internal. And then external, we realize that there are these systemic barriers to economic mobility. So we came up with what was then a $1 billion, now $1.25 billion commitment to driving out and improving and breaking down some of these barriers to economic mobility in communities of color. So we think about health, we think about small business, we think about jobs, and these sorts of things really help us, we think, drive over a period of time some catalytic change. So the idea is that we make an investment here that attracts more money, and then the thing starts to build on itself. So to put it specifically in Detroit, an example would be our investment in First Independence Bank. So we make an equity investment and a large deposit in First Independence Bank. That helps Ken Kelly and his team further their mission. So we're making lots of investments like that all over the country. And of course, Tiffany Douglas and I are doing our best to bring that money here to Detroit. Hopefully we get more than our fair share. But those are two of the basic things that we're doing. But I think it's really critical for all of us as leaders and all of us as people to really be clear on our why. And diversity and inclusion is a big part of how we run the company. And it starts at the top. Our CEO chairs our Diversity and Inclusion Council. So it's something that we're held accountable for and we all believe in.
I am blessed to have gotten a couple of calls about being on publicly traded or private company boards. And one of the things I'll say about the women who are not getting those calls is everyone who wants diversity, if you want a woman, a black woman in particular on your board, you would have one. And the only thing missing is the will. The business case has been made over and over. The business case was actually made decades ago. So if you don't have one or two or three, because it should be a percentage of your board, then you really should be looking at each other as C-suite executives and as board members, because you are not getting the best or giving the best value to your shareholders because you're missing something. The last thing I'll say is, people act like finding a talented black woman is like finding a Siberian white tiger in Detroit. If you want, you can ask anybody. There are probably 50, 100 black women here. And for white guys, For generations, the entry point has been that you were someone's roommate or you played golf with someone. So why is it different for Black women? You should be talented, you should be capable, you should have integrity, you should be a good person, you should be smart as hell. And that describes a lot of people. So use the same rules for Black women that you use for everyone else.